Hi guys, hey, get out those 16.2 questions that you did yesterday after your quiz. We're going to get those graded up. If you weren't here yesterday, then step one, while we're going over this, you need to be taking the 16.1 quiz on Google Classroom. When you get done there, then you need to get these 16.2 questions from somebody and fill them out, because you're also fixing to take a 16.2 quiz. So buckle up, you got a lot of stuff to do. You should have been here yesterday, said the guy who wasn't here yesterday. Anyway, let's go over those 16.2 questions real quick, which covers really the beginning, technically, of World War II as Germany begins to invade its neighbors. Number one question says, why did Germany feel like it needed the land of its neighbors? It said that it needed growing space, it needed some room, but really it needed stuff too. Remember that countries that want to be powerful need stuff. Okay, they need coal mines and power plants and people and land. Number two, so the first place that Hitler goes is neighboring Austria. Okay, because that was in the Treaty of Versailles, that was some of the land that was taken from Germany was part of Austria. So as he goes in to take this, there was quite a few folks in Austria who were okay with it because such a large population of Austria was German. Okay, nationalism, they're the same race of people, they're Germans. That doesn't mean everybody in Austria was okay with it. It just means that there was a large population of Germans, particularly to the east, who really were okay with essentially going back to being part of Germany. So the rest of the world sees this and doesn't think much of it because it looks like Germany basically taking back what used to be Germany. The rest of the world's in the middle of a Great Depression. They don't see it as that big a deal. They kind of see it as, okay, that's fine. Number three, why did Hitler want the land of Czechoslovakia? Okay, again, this area is called the Sudetenland. Okay, and he essentially has signaled, hey, we're fixing to invade, take the Sudetenland. And he makes kind of the same excuse. Every time that he goes to invade someplace, he's going to say, well, it's because the government there is mistreating the German people there. He says the same thing in Austria. Hey, the Austrians are mistreating the Germans. I need to protect the Germans. In Czechoslovakia, the German people living in Czechoslovakia are being mistreated by the Czech government. It's my job to protect all Germans around the world, and so we're going to go basically take them in. Okay? It's at this point that the rest of the world is like, hey, hang on a second. This kind of looks like a trend. You know, you've gone to Austria, now you're headed here. We need to make sure this thing gets stopped. Okay, that's enough taken from other people. Okay, number four, again, well, he said, why did they need to be invaded? Again, because the Germans there were being mistreated. That's going to be his excuse everywhere he goes. The German folks there are being mistreated. His job as a nationalist, as the great leader of this Aryan race, is to protect Germans everywhere. So before he goes to invade Czechoslovakia, there's going to be a meeting in the German city of Munich with the French Prime Minister and the British Prime Minister, a guy named Neville Chamberlain. No matter what you do, please don't name your kid Neville, okay? Because he's guaranteed to be a wuss. Okay? Neville Chamberlain is going to go down in history as, I don't know, one of the biggest wusses in history. I don't know how else to say it. Okay? They meet in Munich. Hitler has said, I'm fixing to invade Czechoslovakia. Please notice that the leaders of Czechoslovakia are not there. They don't even get to decide what happens to them. Germany, Great Britain, and France are going to sort out what happens to them. And so, France, but also mainly Neville Chamberlain in Great Britain, they come to the Munich Agreement, which is this. Hey, Great Britain tells Hitler, you can have Czechoslovakia as long as you promise to be a good dictator and don't go invading anybody else. And Hitler says, oh, I promise, no more invading. Neville Chamberlain was real proud of himself. He comes back to England, and in his own words, he said, I have given us peace in our time. No, Neville, you didn't. You created war. This was a point when Great Britain and France both had larger militaries than Germany. They had, Germany was still trying to get things manufactured. This would have been the opportunity to stop, the best opportunity to stop Hitler before it ever gets started. And instead, Neville Chamberlain says, no, go right ahead. And so like any bully, once he sees that he's not going to be stopped, this is not the end of the invading. This is the beginning. He knows now Great Britain doesn't have the spine to stop it. And he's creating more and more military weapons and machinery, and he knows that Great Britain and France will not stop him. Okay? It's what's called appeasement. When you appease someone, you give in to a bully. It's a bad idea, and I know I sound old school when I say this, but if you give a bully what he wants, generally the bully knows now he can take whatever he wants. Okay, and so now, rather than stopping Czechoslovakia, now Hitler turns his eyes to Poland. Poland again was land taken from Germany, kind of split between, taken from them and taken from the Soviet Union. And so now his eyes are on Poland and wanting to invade the country of Poland, and he's going to give the same excuse why the German people of Poland, the German people of Poland need his protection because they are being oppressed, they're being treated badly by the Polish government. Again, he's this great nationalist, the father of all German people, and he's going to protect Germans everywhere. And so, because of that, he needs to invade Poland. Now, the problem he's got is that before he does that, Poland used to be part of the Soviet Union. And even though Hitler hates communism, Hitler hates communists worse than Jews, believe it or not. He absolutely hates communists. And so he hates the Soviet Union. But if he goes into Poland, he knows that even though he may hate them, that this is a giant country and he does not want to aggravate them. And so he and the Soviet Union, even though they don't like one another, they're going to come to an agreement. They're going to sign what's called a non-aggression pact. Basically, they're going to agree not to go to war. The Soviet Union, again, just out of World War I, doesn't feel like it's ready for any kind of war. Germany doesn't want to poke the bear initially. And again, it's kind of like the Munich Agreement. Is the Soviet Union just going to let us have Poland? Yeah, they're just going to let you have Poland. So again, the bully is given into. And so they come to an agreement not to go to war with one another. Spoiler alert, Hitler is a dummy, and he's going to break that agreement, and it's really going to cost him everything. Number 8, what is the purpose of blitzkrieg? It's where we get the word blitz. It's a sudden, it's called lightning war. It's just a sudden attack. The idea that now you're not hanging out in a trench, that with tanks and airplanes, that now we can attack suddenly. Number 9, in April and May of 1940, Germany basically just rounds up and they want to circle France. And so they take Belgium, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, all the countries that surround France to encircle France because now they're going to launch an invasion of France. Okay? They haven't been stopped at Czechoslovakia. Nobody stops them in Poland. And now they're not stopped as they kind of swing through Scandinavia, circle up France. By the way, when they did invade Poland, that's when Great Britain and France declared war. But it's too late. Germany's literally rolling, and there's nothing that Great Britain and France can do now as they're starting to try and get geared up for war. Germany's already at war, and they're just going to roll through the countries that surround France, and they're fixing to roll right through France. Okay? Number 10, so Great Britain and France declare war on Germany when they invade Poland. And now who joins the side of Germany? Italy does. Remember, Mussolini and Hitler are buddies. Basically, Germany's going to take Europe, and Mussolini is going to take Northern Africa. Okay, seems like this is a pretty good deal for him. Number 11, so France, no offense to you French, but Germans whip France like crazy, and now all that's really left for them to get after is England in what's called the Battle of Britain. What Britain has going for it is that it's an island, and so it can't be attacked by land. It's got to be bombed, and so it was an aerial assault. The Battle of Britain, just constant. And Hitler really thought that he could bomb them into submission, and they didn't. That's kind of, you see people that have the shirt, keep calm and do whatever. That comes from the Battle of Britain. And Winston Churchill said, keep calm and just trudge on. Move on to the next day. Okay. All right, make sure you got everything there. Okay. What I need you to do now is go get your phone because you're going to need it to complete your 16.2 quiz. Okay. Hang on to that. Make sure that it is someplace where I can get the grade. The sub will come by and make sure that you have a paper filled out, or else you're going to get a 0. The sub will text me that. So right now, go get your phones and get after that 16.2 quiz. I'll see you on Monday.